The world does not hate the strong. It hates those who seem strong. In a society built on appearances, Machiavelli will teach you the dangerous price of boasting and the hidden power of humility. It all begins not with war, but with whispers, a glance thrown across the courtyard, the laughter of a nobleman, the envious gaze of a merchant tightly gripping a glass. You did not say a word, but your clothing was too luxurious, your ring too golden, your presence too majestic. You wanted them to know, you needed them to see, and they saw. That was your first mistake. Vanity, while flattering to your ego, feeds the thirst of those who wish to consume you. Machiavelli understood that a person displaying their greatness evokes admiration and rivalry. When you reveal your strength, you compel others to measure it against their own. And when you boast of your wealth, you ignite a fire in the hearts of the poor and ambitious. This fire burns quietly at first, but it grows and never forgets. In every court, in every circle of power, as soon as you elevate yourself in display, you become a target. Not because you are strong, but because you want them to know it. People do not truly hate the powerful. They hate the appearance of power, especially when it looms over them like a crown they cannot wear. Let us return for a moment to Florence. There, in the palaces of the Medici, in the shadows of the Signoria, I witnessed this unfold. A young nobleman, talented, respected, adored by some, began to speak of his influence, of his destiny to rule. He walked the streets clad in furs, accompanied by servants, laughing too loudly at his own wit. And while he spoke, others listened. Not to praise, but to conspire. They would not have acted if he had remained silent. They would not have feared him if he had played the fool. But in seeking admiration, he showed them what he had. And by showing it, he revealed how it could be taken from him. One rival whispered to another. The coin was passed. The weasel was bribed. The rumor was sown. He fell not because he lacked strength. He fell because his happiness painted a target on his back, large enough for every dagger in the city. Understand this. Envy is the natural offspring of pride, and envy, unlike fear, cannot be controlled. Fear respects boundaries, fear obeys logic, fear can be used. But envy is chaos, wrapped in smiles, and it poisons not only your enemies but also your friends, your advisors, your kin. When you boast, you give your enemies a reason to hate, something to sharpen their blades on. You awaken in them the worst human instincts, the desire to overthrow, to destroy, to take from one who believes they are untouchable. They do not attack the humble. They do not conspire against the silent. But the proud man, the showman, the peacock displaying his feathers, becomes invulnerable to those who thirst to see blood on marble. Even on modern battlefields, in politics, in business, in the theater of public life, the rules have not changed. A person who rides in the rarest carriage demonstrates his success, laughs the loudest at dinner, and may believe that he is adored. But behind his back, thousands of hands are preparing to overthrow him, and many still do not learn. They confuse appearance with victory, thinking that the more people look at them, the more secure their throne becomes. However, Machiavelli knew that a throne put on display is in danger. A wise ruler hides his intentions behind modesty in every appearance. He moves through the crowd as if he is one of them. He allows others to believe that they are his equals. He lets them boast. He allows them to reveal their cards. And when the time comes, He acts without a single hint of warning. But vanity does not allow for such tolerance. Vanity is a disease. It demands attention. It cannot be satisfied with victory. It craves applause. And this need, this hunger for recognition, makes a person reckless. He will speak when silence is powerful. He will shine when the shadow serves him better. He will provoke when the world would protect him. He becomes not a principle, but a procession, a moving target, a symbol of what others are not. And symbols are created to be destroyed. The most dangerous person in any room is not the one who speaks first. It is the one who waits, observes, listens, and remains silent. True power does not announce itself. It does not wear a golden crown or make loud declarations. It moves through silence, strikes without warning, and hides in plain sight. You have been taught to express yourself, to showcase your strengths, to tell the world about your achievements. But Machiavelli would tell you this: once they know what you have, they begin to plan how to take it from you. This is the first law of power. Concealment, not out of fear, but out of control. The prince who walks quietly controls perception. He allows others to underestimate him. What a wonder it is to appear seemingly small while preparing something grand behind the scenes. When you put yourself on display, you relinquish that advantage. You reveal your tools and give your enemies a blueprint of your fortress. Let me remind you of the spider. It does not chase, it does not roar. It builds patiently, unseen. It allows the world to come to it, waiting motionless until the moment is right. Then it strikes suddenly, without drama, and wins not because it was loud, but because it was ready. Now imagine a person who constantly boasts of their influence. They walk through the courtyard flaunting alliances, quoting decrees, showing letters from influential figures. They believe they are feared, but they are merely seen. They have become a performer, a decoration, someone who has already revealed their reach. And then the others, those who remain silent, begin to act against them. They know where he is strong, but more importantly, now they know where he is weak. Power that is displayed can be measured, and what can be measured can be attacked. In Florence, I observed that the most influential people never looked like it. They dressed modestly, spoke less than they knew, and their influence spread behind closed doors, through whispers and sealed letters. They did not rely on loud statements or ostentatious luxury. They were feared because no one could fully understand how far their power extended. They created confusion, and confusion in politics is a weapon. The one who conceals their true power never becomes a target for the right reasons, while the loud ones fight for recognition and pose like dogs around a throne. The quiet ones manage the essence of existence. They accumulate favors, keep secrets, and inspire others with ideas, making people think they are their own thoughts. Boasting is for the weak, who need to be noticed to feel strong. The truly powerful do not seek to be noticed. They seek to be obeyed, often even before others realize to whom they are submitting. A lion can be considered strong, but it is obvious. Hunters know how to spot it. Now think of a snake, quiet, patient, always observing. It strikes only once, but that strike changes everything. The prince who survives is the one who hides his thoughts behind a smile. He allows others to speak, observes their eyes, notices who flatters, who lies, who desires more than they admit, and in doing so, he himself says little. He lets his silence create mysteries and fear. Those who show every move they make do not instill fear. They are predictable, and a predictable person is the easiest to destroy. You may think your power grows when people see it, but Machiavelli knew the truth. Power grows when no one can understand how much you have and when you use it. The moment you display your strength to gain respect, you have already lost half of it because you have given your opponent time. Time to prepare, time to resist, time to strike before you do. True power does not enter the room demanding attention. It waits in the corner, studies the situation, makes others feel uncomfortable with its stillness, and when it acts, it does so with precision, not with flair. It is not the loud person who rules. It is the one you ignore until it is too late. The most powerful force is the one you never expected. Power, real power, does not show itself off, does not shout, does not demand recognition. It allows others to underestimate it, to ignore it, even to mock it, and only when absolutely necessary does it act. And when that happens, it does so with such force and precision that there is no room for recovery. You see, the strongest do not appear strong because there are great advantages in looking weak. Machiavelli understood the game. The one who seems dangerous provokes attack, but the one who seems harmless provokes mistakes. When others believe you are not a threat, they speak more openly, they take greater risks, they lower their guard, they reveal things they would never say in the presence of a lion. But you are not yet a lion to them until you become one. To them, you are merely a sheep wandering among wolves. But this is where your strength begins. There is no more destructive weapon than underestimation. And the greatest mistake your enemies can make is to believe that you are nothing. Let them think so. In politics, in war, in business, and in any field of human competition, the smartest move is to allow others to gain confidence. While you prepare, let them underestimate you. Let them think you have no ambitions, no resources, no courage. Smile while they advance. Never applaud their vanity, and at the same time, lay your foundation, brick by brick, quietly and unnoticed. I have seen people destroy kingdoms not because they were weak, but because they rushed to prove their strength. Do you know what maneuver in military strategy is the deadliest? Retreat? Not because it is surrender, but because it is a lure. You pretend to flee. In reality, you are full of enthusiasm, confident, victorious. But then, when he goes too far, when his lines are stretched, when he loses discipline, you strike from the flanks, from behind, from all the directions he has forgotten to protect. So it is in life, in strategy, in power. Allowing others to expose themselves first. Let them waste their resources trying to make an impression, trying to dominate, trying to win admiration. Let them believe that the battle is already over. While they perform before the crowd, you remain in the shadows, focused, invisible, sharp. You must become impenetrable. Your intentions should be concealed. Your thoughts must remain a mystery. Your abilities should always seem slightly below your actual power, because power, when noticed, invites defense, but hidden strength breeds vulnerability in others. It opens the gates, and when the gates are open, the strongest moves in without announcement. They never knew you would come. They never imagined what you are capable of, which is why your strike is decisive. An eagle does not flap its wings wildly before diving. It soars silently, calculating, and when it moves, it does so once. It does not require a second attempt. I have encountered people in Florence who spoke of their future greatness so loudly, with such self-assurance, that all the rooms revolved around them. Their names echoed in the palaces and squares. But in the shadows were others, people without titles, without applause, who watched, and when the moment came, it was not those who were spoken of that survived. It was the quiet, forgotten ones who rose. Why? Because no one prepared for them. No one feared them until it was too late. No one saw the dagger until it was between the ribs. You must become that dagger, hidden, unnoticed, yet precise. To be prematurely terrifying is dangerous. It gives enemies time to build walls, but to be underestimated is the most fertile ground for dominance. Every fool wants respect now, but the wise person, the truly strong one, waits. He allows the world to turn away, and then he finishes the game with a single move. People will admire you as you rise, but as soon as you soar too high, their admiration will turn into silence. Silence will turn into doubt, and doubt into discontent. This is the paradox of power. The more you display your greatness, the stronger the desire of others to destroy it. The crowd does not tolerate weakness. It despises the excessive measure. It despises detachment. It despises the person who shines so brightly that in his light others feel invisible. Machiavelli understood this well. He observed it in royal courts and cathedrals, on battlefields and in marketplaces. He saw how quickly admiration turns into envy, and envy always seeks one thing: destruction. A person who puts himself on display may gain followers, yes, but they follow not out of reverence. They follow out of curiosity, out of temporary excitement, or because they want to bask in his glory for their own benefit. These are not soldiers. They are shadows, and shadows disappear the moment the light changes. You must understand that when you make a spectacle of yourself, you awaken the deepest insecurities in the crowd. A sense of insignificance. No one remains loyal to someone who makes them feel smaller. Even your allies will begin to doubt their own positions. They will smile in your presence but whisper behind your back. Why does he take all the glory? Why must he be seen first, heard first, praised first? Gradually, your pride becomes their excuse. Your success becomes their justification for betrayal. It starts subtly. They postpone their duties. They hesitate to carry out your orders. They forget to protect you in critical moments, all while continuing to call you their leader. They do not abandon you. They simply stop serving themselves. And thus, the ruler falls. Power, when displayed too openly, disrupts the delicate balance between the ruler and the subjects. The crowd begins to feel like spectators of your triumphs rather than participants in them. And spectators are dangerous because they can easily shift their attention to something else the moment you cease to entertain them. You must never allow people to feel insignificant. To maintain loyalty, a ruler must remain one of them, or at least appear to be so. He must share in their struggles to seem familiar, yet maintain enough distance to remain respected. But he who puts himself on display, the prince who flaunts his wealth and victories, forgets this. He builds himself a pedestal so high that no one can reach it, and once no one can reach him, no one will defend him. Even the most devoted followers will leave you if your pride reminds them of what they lack. And worse still, they will not just walk away. They will rise against you because deep down, people do not want to be ruled by someone they cannot relate to. They do not want rulers who seem superior, but not too superior. Powerful, yet not unattainable. Wise, yet still human. To lead them, you must stay just a little ahead of them. That is why the shrewdest leaders often pretend to be simple. They downplay their talents, share their accolades even when they belong solely to them, and allow others to feel important even when they are not. For when people feel their significance, they become loyal. If they feel invisible, they begin to harm. I have seen kingdoms crumble not due to defeats, but due to showmanship. Their pedestals were too high, their names sounded too loud, their image became too perfect, and perfection is unbearable for imperfect masses. What did they do? They sought cracks, and if they did not find any, they created them. A ruler who erects a monument to himself invites others to destroy it, not because he offends them, but because he reminds them that they cannot do the same. Loyalty cannot be bought, neither with gold nor with praise. It is maintained through restraint, balance, and the illusion of shared power, even if it is not truly shared. But a person who boasts eagerly draws attention to himself. He drinks from the well of applause until even his closest associates begin to feel thirsty. And when that thirst lasts too long, they stop admiring him, start blaming him, seek another, whisper about change, and then take action. So now you see, a person who boasts thinks he is conquering the world, but in reality, he is losing control. Showy strength attracts envy. A display of power provokes resistance. A tale of victories creates enemies where there were none. And by demanding applause, he suffocates the loyalty of his own followers. Machiavelli did not disdain greatness. He scorned its careless exposure. A true ruler keeps his power in the shadows. He moves in silence. He allows others to underestimate him and feeds on their mistakes. He guards his strength like a snake guards its venom, discreetly restrained, deadly when unleashed. To succeed in this world, it is not enough to merely survive and administer. One must grasp this final truth. What is put on display can be attacked, but what is hidden governs everything. Do not strive to impress. Strive to endure. Let others boast. Let them dance before the crowd. And when the time comes, you will strike.